Hello, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today for our weekly live session where we take your questions about U.S. immigration law and generally discuss and educate you about what's going on in the system. Again, not intended for individual legal guidance, but general education about the confusing immigration system that there is. And I'm trying to hold back a sneeze right out. Excuse me. Yeah, let's take it. We're coming in live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and on TikTok. The TikTok app is having some malfunction. So again, there we always get a lot of questions from TikTok, so we want to get that in. If you're interested in the marriage green card case, first and foremost, download our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Thousands of people have downloaded it, and I regularly get people thanking me like it did, like change the game for them. So it's free, 50 plus pages, breaking things down. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. The website is marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Just download it, register and download it. It'll be sent to you, no costs. And take it from there. If you want to schedule a private consultation with us, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. And again, that's jqqlaw.com/contact, and fill that out there so we get it started. And for those just tuning in right now, wherever you are in the world, shoot out your questions on YouTube or Instagram. Hello, Mers. Hello, Med18. Thanks so much. Talk Purple, first question. A request for funding source memo was sent out by the Department of State for J1 waiver 2 months ago. Do you know which organization typically receives the request? What can I do while waiting? I'm not sure. Like, we never get the funding source memo. When you file for the waiver, you should have had that ahead of time and got a letter from the funding source saying that they don't expect payment or payback of it and stuff like that. So if that didn't happen, I'm not sure you filled out the waiver paperwork properly. If you're doing a home consulate-based waiver anyways, that should have been accompanied with it. So I'm not sure what you do in Talk Purple with your waiver request. I'm not sure if it's different than what I would typically do or why they came. I've never had that question asked because we prep ahead of time to say, okay, the funding source has been okayed. Either you paid back the money for the funding source or the funding source waives it and said we don't have any expectation of payback and it's okay or something like that. That's how we usually deal with that. Yasa says, hi, John. Hi to you as well. May I ask, I'm a Canadian citizen. Okay, I'll say that, then I'll go to Kisum. May I ask, I'm a Canadian citizen, graduated from optometry school last May. My I-765 was denied due to school error. I filed the motion to reopen and want to know my options. My case denied. Well, most of the time when people are in your situation, their I-765's work permit for OPT gets denied. It's because they either had the I-20 signed incorrectly or they filed it within an incorrect time frame. If that happened, most likely that's probably what reason why it got denied, and most likely the appeal will be denied. So you should have really the only thing you have is to really like go to next level, either start working, get a job, H-1B or something like that, or TN, or just leave and do a higher level of education or something like that. I mean, it's a pretty bad situation, but since you are Canadian, potentially there's a way to get a TN visa in there, especially if you have licensing in the United States. So that's something that's more, it's really case by case basis. But it doesn't look good because usually when the OPT is denied, it's not much you can do to fix it. I had one case where that happened, and we dug deep and realized the client was actually a U.S. citizen, didn't even know it. So you just got him a passport instead. But that's a rare thing. That's why consultations are needed to really dig in to see, is there something like unique that could come out of it? In that case, it was game changing. It changed the person's life, or else it would have been deported. Tikosum says, how long it takes for a K1 visa? This is a common question we get. The timelines vary dramatically in every year. For example, 2 years ago is twice as long as it is right now. So any information I gave 2-year-old videos, we'll see it and it'll be different from right now. But essentially for a K1 visa, first it's a U.S. citizen has to file it. Almost all the time they have to have seen the other partner at least once in the last 2 years. But once you submit the initial form I-129F, right now they say it's averaging 6 months to get that approved, but probably between 6 to 13 months realistically. Once that's approved, then you got to get an embassy appointment to do an interview. Now, how long it takes for the embassy appointment for a K1 fiancé visa varies dramatically too. Some embassies may schedule an appointment within 2 or 3 months of the I-129F approval. Some may take 2 years to schedule an embassy appointment. And then after an interview happens, some will issue the visa instantly, and some will take another 6 months to 2 years to issue the visa. So when you ask how long it is, right there, even before you enter the United States, just to get a visa, if approved, it could take anywhere from 9 months to 4 years. And that's a realistic time frame from doing this stuff for 15 years. And then once you enter the United States, then you got to file for a green card. How long will a green card take? We got to get married first. Once you're married, you file for adjustment of status. After filing for adjustment of status, averaging 3 months to 12 months It's just going to get longer in the Trump administration because one is they're cutting down on visa staff employees, so those will be delays there getting an appointment. And secondly, they're going to start requiring in-person interviews for all these marriage and fiance cases, which means the office is going to be more busy, less time to handle your case. So there's going to be a lot of delays. Essentially, any timeline that's given is very speculative. It's not really something that we can guarantee or say is actually going to happen because it just every 6 months, everything changes so dramatically. Next thoughts, I have 2 kids overstayed 17 and 15. My husband is a U.S. citizen. I just got my citizenship. Both can adjust status or just one of us. If you're a U.S. citizen and the kids enter lawfully because they're minors and stuff and they're immediate relatives, they could both just file for adjustment of status. I went through adjustment of status. So I got to see what's going on. If you're married to a U.S. citizen and these are their stepchildren, he should have just filed for their green card years ago. And so as soon as they get their green cards, they become citizens too because you're a citizen. But you didn't need to wait. It depends on when you got married. But as soon as you got married, you should have filed for their cases. So next, best to schedule a private consultation because already you may have hamstrung yourself and delayed things and created more, a bit more nightmares for your family on these delays. So schedule a private consultation. Go to jqqlaw.com/contact so we talk about it in detail. But essentially, I don't think you needed to wait that long. You got to file as soon as possible because you're a citizen. The children become citizens as soon as they get their green card. If the rest of the stuff is correct, they won't even need an affidavit of support. They can waive the affidavit of support requirement. So that's something to definitely look into. Kainua says, how long does it take for marriage-based waivers? Marriage-based waivers. What does that mean, marriage-based waivers? You mean a 601A waiver? That could be like 2 to 4 years on average right now. But there's other waivers and other things. So we got to see what's going on. You're welcome. Next step. And Matt says, which is better for siblings under 21? Oh, through mom as a green card holder or siblings as a U.S. citizen? How long does it take? So, yeah, mom as a green card holder is faster. That's the F2B category. The timelines are very unreliable. So these are, I could be completely wrong because it changes every 2 seconds. But as a child of a green card holder, depending on how old they are, they may age out of that application. So that's a problem too. But probably 7 to 9 years. Through a sibling, that's going to take 15 to 20 years. Zubair says, good evening. Taking a lawyer for the interview will help the candidate anyway. If taking a lawyer for the interview will help the candidate anyway. When you say anyway, that's too broad. That's too open-ended, Zubair. So in any way, yeah, it helps. But, so that's not you got to be this is law. We got to be very specific in the questions that we ask. If you're asking a question wording that way, yeah, it's going to help you because one of the aspects that we have problems when people go in the interviews is their English may not be the best and they answer things incorrectly and it blows up in their face. So you want to make sure that's good, but it really depends on your case background. I don't know anything about you to say whether it's helpful or not, but judging by the question, I would say have an attorney present. Mayor says, hopefully the I-290 is approved, but I don't want to stay unlawfully in the U.S. I want to ensure I can re-enter and deny what options available for me. Maris, that's too case specific. You got to stay in private. You're already unlawful here. Once you got the denial notice from USCIS, you've been accumulating unlawful presence days. If you accumulate more than 6 months or 180 days of that, you may be subject to a 3-year ban. So I-290 to form I-290 appeal doesn't provide any protections. So he definitely should have talked with a lawyer before he filed the I-290, see if it's even worth it. Because it's probably not, but I don't know the case details. So Maris, schedule a private consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact. Talk Purple says, can I go ahead and apply for marriage-based green card while I'm waiting a favorable response for J1 waiver? You can once the Department of State approves it initially. There'll be one more step after that where USCIS has to approve it, but at a minimum, Department of State has to approve the J1 waiver before you can file for adjustment of status. It is in the instructions for Form I-485, but the instructions are like 45 pages, and it's hidden in there on one line, so it's very hard to know. I was talking to a USCIS officer, they didn't even know that was a rule, and so that's one of those things. Rasul asks, hi, John, is there any way to follow up if a green card is mailed after entry to U.S. to paying green card fee? Yeah, call USCIS and see what's going on. Greg says, hey, John, used an attorney for a K1, moved to L.A. last January, married in August. Form I-485 was received on October 2nd, 2024, and it was just approved on Saturday last night, February 25. Oh, great. Congratulations, Greg. Thank you for reaching out and letting us know. Congrats. What brings you to the show, or have you been a regular? I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, Greg, but if you've been on it, let me know how you caught us and why you decided to come on the show and all that kind of stuff. But congratulations. Afghan says, after my expedite request, USCIS responded by alleging that the email was someone else's. Weird. No, yeah, that's the thing with immigration. It's always weird stuff. Greg says, love your podcast. First time catching your live. Oh, thank you for watching. Thanks for all the help and advice. Delighted to finally have residence. Well, God bless you. That's wonderful news. Just be mindful. You got a 2-year green card, Greg. You need to have it on your calendar to file for removal of conditions 1 year and 9 months from essentially Saturday. One thing you'll notice is that your approval notice will have a different day by one-off date from your green card. So when you're calculating that, keep that in mind. But document as much as possible your relationship. So when that time comes, you have a lot of paperwork to show that you're really a couple. But that's great news. I'm glad to hear it. Leishon says, how long does the I-130 take to be approved? I filed mine last year in June. I'm a U.S. citizen, 12 to 13 months on average right now, if you're doing a marriage case. If it's other kinds of I-130s, it's different timelines. Yasa says, my fiance and I are planning to marry soon. He's a U.S. citizen. I got a denial notice on my motion to reopen the case before our marriage. Can we marry afterward and stay in the U.S.? Your motion to reopen the case. So which case are you talking about? Which case was denied, Yasa? It gets too individualized. So please schedule a private consultation. If you've already gone through all that, you're not sure what's going on, and you got a denial, you definitely need to schedule a private consultation to talk to the case. It's just no option. That's like the only thing to do to make it a good advice on it. Greg, thank you. Alicia, thank you. Okay. Met says, how long does it take to get a mom as a green card holder to her daughter, which is under 21? Reword the question, Mr. John. That's 7 to 9 years, but it depends. Your daughter may age out and she can't get married. He also says, is there a specified period, 108 days after I-75 I denied to marry, or can we marry while the motion reopen is still pending with the affecting green card? It doesn't matter. So yeah, there's no set period, but you're already in such a mess right now because you have a motion going into appeal and stuff like that. Because I-765 denied to marry, I-765 is a work permit. So denied to marry, there's such a mess right now that I wouldn't even bother asking anything public like this. Please go to jqqlaw.com/contact and schedule a private consultation. It's already too mixed up right now. It's best to just talk in private. Yes. C. Mark says, hey, John, wanted to ask, when it comes to the freeze of cases on the people who enter with Biden-era policies, does this also include people who were paroled in the U.S. on D-212D5 in 2012? So the long and short of it is, there's news reports that the Trump administration is going to hold any case where they enter with certain parole programs from Central and South America and Ukraine, these special programs that President Biden or Biden administration put into place. There's no official word about this program existing other news reports, so it's not proper to really say anything because it's not law that's known. But generally, it's people on these certain parole programs. So if you enter on 212D waiver, but you're from Mexico, you're from China, that's a different kind of parole program. So that's not supposed to be included, but we have no official word of what the program is other than hearsay, which is reporting and stuff like that. So that's the realistic answer for it. I could, hype it up and say more, but, I really want to give proper information. How do you file a complaint against a USCIS agent? Good luck, but go to USCIS.gov and feedback or something like that. But, or congressperson, complaint with blah, blah. UV says, I'm an asylum seeker, but I lost my EAD. How long is it going to take to get a replacement card? Forever. Hopefully it won't be too long. There's no timelines, but hopefully it won't be too long, but it usually takes forever. Ken says, my I-130 is 15 months old. Can I sue USCIS? If you like, but what type of I-130 is it? If it's a sibling-based I-130, that's normal. If anything, you want it to be longer. But that's that. MMA says, if RFE for divorce decree is asked and you are still in pending divorce and don't have one, what to do? I'm guessing you're in removal conditions for I-751. I have a detailed video on this on YouTube, so check out our YouTube page, JQK Law YouTube or U.S. Immigration Talk. But essentially, you got to buy time. So wait till the last week for responding to the request for evidence. At the same time, saying, please do an interview, has an update of what's going on. Ask for an interview. So it just got to stall, essentially. See, Marcus, so thanks very much for your phone. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate the kind words. How much should the U.S. citizen be making financially to support the one visa? It depends on the family size, household size of the petitioner. But go check out Form I-864P. And depending on the household size, which includes you, the foreign national, the chart says it's probably like 20,000 unmarried, and if you're just you and no kids or other household members, dependents. Now note that the amount I'm saying is for the adjustment of status from I-485. For the K-1 fiance, the amount is lower. It's only 100% of the federal poverty guidelines, not 125% which is for the adjustment of status affidavit support. But I just go for the harder standard from the very beginning. The stuff I'm saying might be just blowing past you because I'm saying all these numbers. But that's the rule if you're asking the rule. Greg says, can you on Can you hear you on the continued evidence and green card renewal? Thanks, John. You're welcome. Just popped in to give the hope. As such a tough response to go for. I basically took 4 months to be approved. Yeah, that's wonderful. Adjustment of status only took 4 months. People are waiting much longer, but most of the time our cases take that long. Most just it's pretty fast right now. Hopefully, Trump administration won't make it much crazier than that. But I really appreciate coming on the show, Greg, and the kind words. If you had time, and anyone, Marcus as well, go to our Google site. Jake, just type in JQK Law into Google. And on the right, you'll see our info. Leave a 5-star review. You don't have to write anything. Just say great work or just no one write anything. But 5 stars always helps us get the word out about the work that we do because we really love helping people, especially for marriage-based cases. User 82 says, green card holder, how long to get your citizenship? Well, it depends on your background. Typically, it's 5 years to apply or 4 years and 9 months-ish. And then how long it takes depends on your case. In the local field office, could be 3 months, could be a year. But we have a 20-minute video breaking down all that stuff on our YouTube page, QK Love. Not sure why the page keeps cutting out for some reason, but hey, this is the world. Love says, my son is born U.S. citizen. He's just 21 November. When can depends on your background, Love. So we got to see what's going on there. If you have unlawful entry, you've overstayed, there's issues there. And there's no waiver for overstay based on having a U.S. citizen child. Bro, answer. Look at TikTok comments now, bro. Sigma says it's been 2 weeks. I haven't received my I-485 and all. We're back. Sorry for everyone on YouTube and stuff. I don't know why my internet quality is so terrible, but we are back. Sumita says, hi, after DQ, how long it takes for the interview? It depends on your embassy, Sumita. Some 3 months, some take 2 years. How long is wait for asylum? 2 months to 10 years. Preet says, hello, sir. My VAWA approved May 4th, but I'm still waiting for my I-485 approval. It's 9 months ago. I'm sorry. I don't have timelines to help you. Are oaths taking longer? Oath ceremony takes longer. I had citizenship January 8th and adjustment status interview. So you had citizenship on January 8th and adjustment of status interview. So that doesn't make sense because either adjustment status green card interview or citizenship. So that doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're talking about. And oath ceremonies just depends on how busy your local office is on that day. I've had people go to an interview on the same day. One gets the oath ceremony the same day. One has to come back 3 weeks. So it's not up to me or there's no timelines really. It depends on what's going on that day, that exact second. Talk Pro says, I appreciate your response. I will wait before filing my adjustment of status then. Can my husband submit from I-130 form while I wait for response to my J waiver? He can, but I'm not sure if it's a wise idea. We got to see what the whole situation is. Typically, you want to file the I-130 form with the I-485 so the case stays together. But it may be appropriate for some weird or unique reason in your case to do it. So I can't say, should your husband do that? He physically can do that. Whether it's a good idea or not, I can't advise you. I got to see what's going on more or it's worth doing something like that. Can you apply for adjustment of status if you overstayed? Yes, if you fall with an exception, spouse of a U.S. citizen kind of case, or immediate relative, parent, or minor child of a U.S. citizen, or some rare other exceptions. For example, if you're adjusting based on employment base, it's only been 180 days of overstay under a 245K. You might have a 245I exception, or you might be filing for adjustment of status based on VAWA. So it's law. Can you? Maybe. We got to see what your case is. Changing name before applying for green card visa. Okay, what's the question? Abdullah says, still advisable to use combo card pending AOS. If you need to use it, it's not advisable. You shouldn't travel. But if you need to, you need to. So it depends on your case and your background. Well, when will there be an update on priority dates? Have moved ages? It's not up to me. Go tell that to your senator to tell the government. Beach says, good evening. How long does it take to wait for asylum? 3 months to 10 years. Sumita, to answer your question, it's an unknown timeline. Minnie says, my ex-husband used me for papers. He has his green card. Can I still report and prevent citizenship? Give it a try. It's probably not going to work, but sure, go ahead. If that's what you want to do, you want to, burn someone up like that. Boston said, Trump said $5 million for a green card. Yeah, he's the potential golden visa. Trump is not allowed to do it on his own. The Congress has to pass something like that. So changing name after marriage, does it affect the green card-based application? No. Let's see. Hey, Katie. Minnie says, my ex-husband usually already answered that question. Hey, Lauren. When will priority dates update? I don't know. It's not up to me. Hi, I just got my I-131. Can I travel outside the U.S. without any trouble? I'm not Nostradamus. I can't tell the future. I don't know anything about you, so I can't answer this question. You guys got to keep in mind when you're asking questions, it's like go to a doctor and saying like, if I take aspirin, will it be bad? 99% of the people have no problem taking aspirin. 1% of the people, or maybe smaller than that, might have allergic reaction and die. So when you always ask these questions, is it trouble for me or is this good? Like, it's like, it's like I'm a Juris Doctor. I'm technically a doctor here, like by my degree. So it's like I can't tell somebody on the internet who I've never met before if something's okay for them. This is general education only. So he says, so can I contact the embassy? You can, but you'll be wasting your time. They won't do anything. Let's see. Can I call in for a live call? No, I don't do live calls because I don't like people's confidential information being set out. Is VAWA going to be repealed? You'll know when it does. I can't tell the future. Is it true that immigration benefits have been frozen until further notice? No, for us, potentially there's rumors and news reports that for a small, very, very small category of people, maybe. Layla asks that may be on hold, but no, not generally. Layla asks, how long does reentry permit process take now? 3 months to 2 years. Can you wait overseas after you file and done the biometrics until it gets approved? The regulations are vague. They don't have an answer for that. Historically, I've done that, Layla, without issue. But because the regulations are vague, they can make stuff up anytime they want. But, you have a file in. If need be, you got to travel and argue that this, regulations say that and see what happens. Peter says, unsolicited evidence or wait for RFE. People say unsolicited evidence aids your case. I try to avoid giving unsolicited evidence. Historically, when the cases were paper-based, they would not want you to do that. Now that it's online, they have a system for it. But the reality is when we prep our cases, we make it so full and stuff that we never need to send anything unsolicited. So it depends on how strong your case is and what the new evidence is to justify, rocking the boat. So we got to see what's going on with your case, Peter. How long the embassy take to respond to inquiry about I-130 petition for green card with spouse? It shouldn't take long, but if they're taking more than a couple weeks, keep contacting or maybe contact your senator for help. Okay. Still, can I submit EU settlement application? We don't handle EU laws, U.S. citizenship only. A lot of people are asking the same question over again. I got to mute you all because it makes it harder to keep track. So it really kills the show when you guys gives the only questions, the same question over and over again. I don't feel like muting everybody, but I might have to do that. I want to apply for a green card. How many months or years before I can get it? That question is impossible to answer. What kind of green card is it? What is the basis? What's your background? It's not possible to answer that question the way it's phrased. All right, we're just going to skip a bunch of questions because everyone's here. It says, thank you so much for taking my question. You're welcome. Everything that Chrissy Noam has said, can we still fly domestic like everything else? I don't know. It's up in the air of what's going on about flying domestically if you don't have status. I got my conditional green card through marriage last year. Can I travel nationally with any issue? I can't answer something without issue. Most likely, yeah. The stuff you're hearing on the internet on TikTok is garbage. If you're in deportation, you should be worried. But I can't say any issue. It's like I can't say tomorrow the sun's going to come up. I don't know that's probably going to come up, but I can't say that for sure. Peter said, during consular processing, it's better to wait at your designated consular office or embassy in the beneficiary's country, even though it's a lot of wait time after one is like Nigeria transfer. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Peter. You don't have to wait there. Whenever you have your interview, it should be in the country you're residing with. So I'm not sure. If you want to transfer to your home country, you got to contact the National Visa Center or potentially the embassy you want the case transferred to, one of those, depending on where the case is, and ask them to accept it. That's the long and short of that. I think that's the answer. What if you have a visa and you want to change for residency? What are the requirements? And that's like a book right there. So it's not something I can just answer here. If someone with the EAD C9 considered undocumented, yeah, the C9 EAD doesn't give documentation. It just gives you temporary work authorization while your green card is pending. Parolee with work permit and social security card has a silent pending. What is her stand now? Nothing, just silent pending. It doesn't give you much. I mean, get your work permit, but that's about it. And social security number. Is it possible to have work permit in Donald Trump regime? Yeah, millions of people have it. You're welcome, Max. Good luck on the situation. But you're Canadian. You should seriously look into TN visa. Or your employer should look into filing for H-1B for you if you have a degree and everything. And you got the licensing. Do you work on cases to an organization? No, we don't do lawsuits. Okay, let's get some new ones. Which state are you in? One King asks. I'm in Los Angeles, California, but our location doesn't matter for the gifts that we do. Thank you for the badges, I guess, Martin. Are interviews still being waived? Yeah, but that's starting to end from what we hear. I have a dependent last year on my dad's taxes forms. Will that be an issue for my K-1 fiancé visa? I was a dependent on my dad's. Not necessarily. I mean, it makes it complicated. It depends on how much income you made on your own. So you have to submit paperwork of your individual income, like your K-2s and pay stubs and stuff. It makes it more complicated probably, but it's not impossible. But I need more information, so please schedule a private consultation. Okay, let's get some. We're about to end the show soon, so get some last questions in there. After biometrics, how long you work permit? There's no timeline connection between the two. Parent petition for over 21 child undocumented. Parent petition for over 21 child undocumented. How long? You could petition the I-130. That petition will take a year, but you can't file for adjustment of status if you're undocumented in the sense they didn't enter the U.S. validly unless you did and you overstayed. So you have to go to the embassy. But if you go to the embassy, you're going to be subject to a 3 or 10-year bar on reentry, and there's no way to get a waiver because you don't have a qualifying relative. Joanne, all that's probably going to go over your head because it's just a lot I'm talking about. Long and short of it is you need to talk with immigration in private because without lawful entry, there's no waiver based on having a 21. So there's this big misperception that people have is like, oh, people came here, had a kid, and they're going to get a green card for the kid. But the regulations since 1997 has made specifically to not allow that because you can't get forgiveness through your U.S. citizen child for the overstay. So unless you have some other exception, it's not a good situation. John says, K3 CR1 combo advisable for my field? Is it advisable? I can't advise you, John. If you want to give it a shot, see what happens, really, if you want to do it. That's that. There's more steps when it comes to if the K3 rarely is K3 approved. But if it's approved, it's more expensive. You got to do more stuff. But it may be the thing to do. So it's really what you want to do. All says I'm waiting for my F100 interview 6 months now, but pending I-75 in 1.5 years. How longer will it take the interview? However long they want to take, really. There's no timelines on this stuff. All right, everybody. We're calling it a day. I guess Lisa asked, my Venezuelan boyfriend's deported because he missed his apartment. Can I file for K-1 visa for marriage? Potentially, but we got to get his deportation record because he might have a ban. So he might have to get a waiver. So it's complicated, Lisa. Please schedule a private consultation. Have his court record too. Can TSA ask for legal status? I mean, the government does whatever it wants to do. How long does it take to get an interview in Abu Dhabi embassy? If you're Iranian, it's going to take 2 years plus. If you're Arab, I mean, from Abu Dhabi, maybe less. I usually deal with Iranians that deal with Abu Dhabi, so it's going to take forever. Peter asked, sir, what I mean is in the MBC stage, is it wise to transfer my case from the supposed country it was originally filed to? This is because the backlog in Nigeria is supposedly Togo. You could transfer to any country you go through. There's risk. Probably it'll be faster. Nigeria is super backed up. But actually, I got to do an update video on that because I just got an appointment finally for one of my cases in Nigeria. But it's risks involved. Maybe the other embassy's not good. Maybe they're going to delay things. It's a gamble what you want to do. So that's that. Saw says, I'm tired, boss. I hear you, but it's only 6 months. I mean, I know people, I'm not in your shoes, but people wait 6 months, 9 months. The grand scheme of things, it's not much time at all. And you get your citizenship probably if you have a good case. So it's kind of like, 6 months, 12 months. I just do this all the time. I don't know why people think these things are much faster. But I've done a ton of videos saying these timelines are. Just wait a couple more months and you'll be done. Peter says, and if so, what's the procedure to do it? Is it wise to transfer out? I don't know. It's not wise or unwise. It's a gamble you want to take. It might work to your benefit, might not. You got to contact the NBC, the National Visa Center. If they say the case is at the embassy, contact them. Then you contact the embassy and ask if they'll accept the transfer, and then wait to see what happens. But I can't tell you either way. I haven't dealt with transferring out of Nigeria. For example, I have a lot of Iranian cases in Abu Dhabi. This is like gold if you're in this situation, the advice I'm giving you. But if Abu Dhabi in the UAE is taking like over 2 years to schedule an interview for Iranians, but the U.S. Embassy in Armenia takes a year. So I have people contact me. They've been waiting 2 years, no interview. If they ask to switch the case to go to Armenia, Armenia has, at least in the last 5 cases, immediately scheduled interviews for them. So it means like they didn't have to wait. When they got in the line for Armenia, they went right to the front of the line because Armenia is faster. They give them that benefit. But will they do that in Togo? I don't know. So I don't know. I haven't done that situation, so I can't. That's what's a gamble. You got to maybe find a lawyer that deals with that particular scenario from Nigeria. Maybe they'll know better. I handle a lot of Nigerian cases, but we haven't transferred them out, so I never had to learn. And I don't think anyone has it's guidance or knowledge, but reach around, talk around. K-Pip says, sir, the backlog for AB3 ever changed? Ask the Department of State. All right, buddy, thanks so much for joining us. If you want to schedule a private consultation to really talk about your case, go to jqqlaw.com/contact fees. Do apply for scheduled consultation. But if you want to know how much it costs, fill that box, just your name, some basic info on your case so I see what's going on. Because we don't do like asylum cases, T visas. So if you tell us that, I just say we don't do it. I just want to know if it's the kind of case we advise on. If it is, we'll schedule a private time, give you good information. I have a lot of people who talk to 5 different lawyers and didn't get a proper answer until it came to me. And I type out my answers if it's something to guide on, and you get it in writing. So I'm on the hook for it. Whereas other lawyers may just not bother doing that because it takes too much time. But then you don't know what they actually said and misunderstandings, and they're covering themselves. We want to be everything by the book and transparent. I want you to rely on us. That's the main thing. But having said that, everyone, guys, bless, be safe, and I'll see you next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Peter.